Can a country make itself more attractive for foreign multinationals to invest in RD&I? Yes, it can, and it should. IESEs International Center for Competitiveness highlights not only the benefits of investing in RD&I, but also the basic role that companies play in improving labor, productivity, and the host country's image.
First of all, it implies higher competitiveness levels. Very well-known international reports such as the Global Competitiveness Report from the World Economic Forum or the Competitiveness Yearbook from IMD state that innovation and technology factors are essential for competitiveness. The Global Competitiveness Report, for example, states that innovation and technology factors account for around 30% of the competitiveness of more developed countries. It also affects the labor force in terms of it creates a more skilled labor force. It also implies that there are more specialized centers, technological infrastructures. Also, RD&I implies a more entrepreneurship initiative in the businesses, and all of these creates a virtuous circle that also helps enhancing at the end competitiveness. Finally, we can say that RD&I helps improving the image of the countries. These foreign multinationals represent an important part of these investments. So first of all, they help achieving the goals. Also, they help on the skills of the labor force. These companies usually apply very appreciated labor practices, such as working in multinational, multicultural environments. They usually perform international transfers, they work on international committees, and all this helps having a very skilled labor force. They enhance the linkages between university and businesses. They also generate knowledge spillovers on R&D. This is the case, for example, of Ericsson. Ericsson organizes different congresses, forums. They do joint publications in terms of R&D, and this is clearly another benefit of their investment. They these companies participate on different European and international R&D projects. This is the case, for example, of ArcelorMittal. And they also provide another benefit, that is they help enhance the image of our country. They receive international prizes such as Thyssen or Sony. These are two companies that have global RD&I centers in our country, and they receive very important international prizes. And this helps improving the image of our country, of course. There are many things that a country can do to attract this sort of investment. But first of all, we have to understand which is the criteria that these companies apply to decide to which country do they go with their RD&I. Some of the things that they have in mind when deciding where to go are first of all, the tax policy or the fiscal policy for RD&I investments. At the end, in practice, many of these foreign multinationals cannot apply these tax reductions or exemptions because of their legal structure within their parent companies. So one of the things that our country can do is to make these policies more flexible, more adapted to the specific characteristics of the companies. Increase linkages between university and businesses. This is something that these companies really ask for. They want a close relationship. They want faculty at universities really involved in research projects with the companies. And they want a more practical approach to research in universities.